Hey guys, new video, another impressions video, on a demo this time actually. And actually I'll talk a bit about the game I'm playing right now. And that game is Final Fantasy Type-0. Yeah, it's Type-0 HD on the PS4. Yeah, I got a PS4 recently. I don't think I mentioned that in any of my videos, but Bloodborne's coming out soon, of course, so I had to pick up a PS4. Um, I was thinking of doing like a PS4 impressions video, but I don't know. There's not really much to say about it. I really like it for sure, but this is the first game I've actually bought for it though. I haven't actually used it all that much, and I've put in about 3 hours into Type-0, and I've finished the demo of Final Fantasy 15. I guess they call it, what do they call it? Episode Duscae, I think that is the name. So I'll talk about the demo first for 15, which a lot of people bought this game specifically for the demo. I didn't. The demo I look at it as like a nice bonus because I was interested in Type-0. It's a game I've been wanting to play, but it was nice to get the demo. Now I'll talk about that a bit later, but I guess the demo. It's I got to say, I came away pretty impressed. Now, they don't give you a lot of story for the demo. Basically, like, your car breaks down in the middle of, I believe it is called Duscae, the area you're in. Your car breaks down, you have to get some gil to fix it. So you have to track down a monster called the Behemoth, I think its name was. And you've got like this wide open landscape to explore. And that's the gist of the demo. That's basically your goal. You don't get a real good feel for the characters all that much, or what the actual story is for the game. I know there's plenty of details out there, which I've actually avoided. So you can find that stuff to get, to kind of get a sense of what the game's actually about story-wise. But the demo doesn't give you much in terms of story, but it does give you a good idea of what the gameplay in this game is going to be like, and I really enjoyed it. What to talk about? It reminds me a bit of I guess Xenoblade is the game I come to most. Maybe a bit of Dragon Age, probably all the Dragon Age games really. The world in this is very interesting because it's kind of like your typical Final Fantasy world, with magic and shit, but there's like real world vehicles, which obviously we've seen that in the trailers. And like there's like a gas station you find yourself at, and all like the NPCs are like basically real people, and of course your characters are too, although they look like like they're in a Japanese boy band or something. But it's really bizarre but interesting at the same time. So I'm kind of digging the world. It's very like this part of the demo is very like forest heavy, but visually it's quite stunning. Like I love the environments from a visual standpoint. I'll talk about like the visuals and sound first, I guess. Visually, I thought it was a good looking game. It's the character models are fantastic. The animations in particular, I think, are absolutely amazing in this game. The environments are nice. There's some textures and spotty textures here and there, but unfortunately though, and this could be just a demo problem, they might fix this for when the actual game comes out. The frame rate is pretty bad. It dips below 30 constantly, and the one Tempest technique that you can use basically makes the frame rate drop like to an insane level every time you use it. So even though the game looks pretty gorgeous, the frame rate is rough. And in fact, this demo is rough in a lot of spots, in gameplay as well. But it is just a demo, so maybe some of this stuff's going to be fixed. But yeah, gameplay-wise, you kind of like explore this map. You're a 4-person party, but you only control the main character. And you roam around this map. You can find different side quests, and I guess I should really talk about like the combat. If you say you're roaming around the map, if you're roaming around the map, you'll find like enemies. You'll get into the combat, and it's all in real time. There's no turn-based combat here. And you kind of like hold the attack button to attack. I guess you could mash like the attack button as well. But your character has like 5 different weapons that kind of form out of midair. You can kind of like equip these weapons in different slots. So you have like a Ravager slot, which is your basic attack mode, and you can put like a Zweihander in there, where your standard attacks will be like these big wide swings with the Zweihander, but you can have like another slot might be like an initial attack slot, where you can put like a blood sword in there, which is a smaller sword that gives you like MP when you attack with it. So your initial attack, you'll use that weapon, and then leading into your other combos, you'll automatically switch to the Zweihander. I think there's like a counter slot too. I don't want to say all these slots, but you'll find that when you play the demo. But it's kind of interesting. So you kind of mix and match these weapons in different slots, and certain enemies I found were weaker to certain weapons. Like the goblins, like I would try the Zweihander for regular combos against the goblin enemies, and I was like doing no damage. But as soon as I put a blood sword in the Ravager slot, I took them out really quickly. So there's like kind of this mix and match thing with the weapons. So that's kind of a cool system. Like I was saying, real-time combat, there's a lock-on system. You've got like this, what do they call it? I forget what they call it, but you can kind of like hold R and press X to kind of like boost to an enemy and attack them, and then like that wastes some MP. You've got MP that kind of like recharges. That's what you use your like techniques. You've got a few different techniques, like I was mentioning the Tempest technique, which basically is like this wide swing that attacks a bunch of enemies in your vicinity. You've got like a charging thrust kind of technique, and some others. And you can just switch between them and use them that will waste MP. There's like kind of a cover system too, where you can kind of like hold the L1 button behind cover, and your MP and your health will regenerate faster. There's like a defensive mode where if you hold L and enemies will attack you, they'll miss. But it wastes some of your MP. And of course, there's a parrying system too, which I enjoy the parrying system, where you kind of press the square button right before an enemy attacks you, and you'll parry, and then you can kind of do a counter attack, which is really cool. That's a good way to do a lot of damage. The combat's very fast paced. It's fluid for the most part. I like the dodging. But the lock-on system can be a bit stubborn sometimes, and the camera could be better, I think. I found the camera kind of got in the way sometimes, and I found it hard to kind of lock onto certain enemies. But, I mean, I thought the combat was pretty enjoyable. There's some aspects I don't like, although it's not really the combat. Like, normal enemies are fun to fight, but I find sometimes like enemies will respawn while you're fighting enemies. Like enemies will just respawn out of nowhere if you take too long. I might be wrong on this, but it seemed like this would happen pretty often. And enemies can have a good amount of health, so some of the battles can get really drawn out, and I don't know, that kind of annoyed me. And the boss you face in this game, the boss is kind of annoying, actually. Like it's got like it's got so much health. I've heard people are actually being able to defeat it without the summon move you get, which basically absolutely demolishes the boss. But actually fighting him head on without the summoning move, like it's almost impossible. Like I guess some people are doing it by grinding. But I found like the boss, it's very hard to dodge his attacks. The camera is really bad in the boss battle. And he can get you into corners and keep stun locking you. I don't know. The boss I didn't find to be very fun. But there is a cool thing there where you can kind of like latch on to parts of the environment really high up, and you'll gain like MP and HP really fast up there, and do like downward attacks from those positions, which is pretty cool. There's like a stealth section in the demo that I didn't think was very fun. I mean, there are aspects to this demo I'm not crazy about. And there's like a goblin cave where there's like, I want to say there was like at least like 20 enemies at once fighting me, and it got really chaotic in like a bad way, where like the environment you're fighting in was really small, and there were so many enemies it was basically impossible to avoid getting hit. If you die in battle, basically you'll go to 0 HP, and you can kind of walk around and use a potion to heal yourself back up. But your AI partners can kind of come and bring you back up to full health. And likewise, if they get knocked down to 0 health, you can like go up to them, press X, and bring them up to full health. The AI on your companions is pretty good, I found. Um, but what else with the demo? I mean, that's really about it. I mean, the leveling up system, actually, I do want to talk about. You can basically camp throughout the environment. You can find like campsites to camp. And you want to do this like during nighttime, because nighttime like enemies get stronger and they respawn more often. And basically, say you fight a bunch of battles, you're gaining experience, but you don't actually level up unless you camp. You'll go camping and you'll like prepare food, and that gives you some kind of bonuses, and that's where you'll level up, and you'll gain like 4 or 5 levels at a time, because you'll be fighting a lot of enemies, and then you'll decide to camp. It's a weird system. I don't know if I like it, but I don't hate it either. I don't know. It's just kind of weird, I guess. But I guess it kind of fits with this game. But what else? I mean, there's like this super mode kind of thing. I forget what they call it. Argiter, I think it was called. If you press like L1 and R1 at the same time, you go into like a supercharged mode where you can like have like different moves, and your attacks are faster and stronger, which that was cool too. I'm sure there's a lot more to the combat in the full game, and this is just like a taste of it. But I liked it, man. It was fast paced. It was fun. But yeah, music wise, the music's great. I love the battle theme. Yeah, I mean the music from what I've heard is really good. You can choose Japanese or English voices, so you know those people out there that hate English voices, which I think there's a lot of people like that. You can turn the English voices off. Although the English voice acting, I didn't think it was actually all that bad. It wasn't great, but it was decent enough. The dialogue though is strange. I don't know. The dialogue is just weird in this game. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't want to talk too much about the demo, because I mean anyone that's picked up Type-0 will get a chance to try it. But yeah, I think I mean already just based on this demo, I mean it takes like 4 hours or so to finish it. Like there's a lot of content, and I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff I missed. Some people are even like finding ways to like leave the barriers of the demo, which is pretty cool. I mean, just from this 4 hours alone, I like the 4 hours of this demo I like better than pretty much the entirety of Final Fantasy 13. So, I mean, there's that. But yeah, Type-0. Let's talk about Type-0 a bit. I've only put in like 3 hours or so into this, and I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna talk about this for a few minutes because I'm gonna wait till I finish this. Yes, I'm gonna actually try to finish this game before Bloodborne comes out. Probably impossible. I'm probably not gonna do it, but I'll try, I guess. I did bump it down to the easiest setting because I do want to get this game done as quick as possible, and I figure it being like putting it on the easy mode will help me get through the game faster. I hear it's like a 25-hour game. I don't know. Will I beat it? I don't know. But from the 3 hours I've played, I actually really dig this game. It's definitely flawed, and I think some people are going to actually find this game unplayable. The story, I don't want to go into it. Right now, I'm finding it to be a bit of a mess. It's confusing. The way the story is told, I hate. I won't say any more than that, but the story is not impressing me at all in this game. However, the dark tone to it is actually refreshing. Like the opening cutscene is very dark and kind of depressing for Final Fantasy, which is cool. I like that. But at the same time, the tone after that kind of goes all over the place, I feel. But yeah, the combat in this game, though, I fucking love the combat in this game. It's not the most complex combat out there. It actually reminds me of Phantom Dust in a weird way. It shares some similarities with that, and I fucking love Phantom Dust. So the combat is actually really cool. I'm not going to go into it in depth, just that I actually really enjoy it. But I said this game was kind of flawed, and like, okay, the camera in this game is pretty bad. It's way too fast, but the camera doesn't bother me as much as the motion blur. This game has the most extreme motion blur I've ever seen in a game, and I think some people aren't going to even be able to play this game because of it. I'll admit, like, I don't get motion sickness, but this game honestly kind of makes me feel a bit dizzy when I play it and move the camera around too much. So much so that I tried not to rotate the camera too much. Like if you click in the right analog stick, it kind of like, the camera kind of focuses where you want it to go instead of moving it yourself. So I've been kind of doing that. So like the motion blur combined with the camera, I think is going to turn off a lot of people. But the combat, like with the demo, is like in real time, and it's really fun. It's really fast paced. Each character plays completely differently from another, and you have like 10 characters you can bring into battle. The game's like mission based, but at the same time, there's kind of like a world map. And there's like a liberating village part of the game that plays like a mini strategy game. Like this game is really unique. I haven't played anything quite like this as far as gameplay goes. And you're like in a cadet school, so you kind of like walk around this school, and you can like kind of like you upgrade your magic abilities, and explore the school, which is really cool. The music I really dig so far. And yes, okay, visually, yeah, this game, you can tell it's a PSP game. Square Enix really didn't do much as far as an HD port goes, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of complaints about that. Personally, I don't care about graphics. I mean, I was going into this knowing it was a PSP a game originally, so the graphics don't really bother me too much. I mean, some of the character models look really good. The NPCs look terrible. The environments look okay. It's a mixed bag graphically, but I don't really care. But yeah, so far I'm actually really digging this game. I can't wait to put in some more hours into it. So yeah, the demo, I came away impressed, and Type-0 I've come away impressed. So I will say, like, this game is $70 in Canada, $60 in the States. That's a bit too much, I feel. I don't think Square Enix should have charged full price for this. Like, it should have been $40, $50. So yeah, I guess that's a thing too. But yeah, so far kind of impressed with the overall package this game provides. If you're a Final Fantasy game, definitely check it out. If you've been wanting like a very traditional Final Fantasy with turn-based combat and charm and humor, you're not gonna find it with these two, with the demo and Type-0. But I think that like they're both pretty unique and different, which I like. If I come away liking Type-0 HD and really liking 15 when it releases, I think Square Enix might be kind of going in a good direction with this series, finally. But yeah, those are my impressions. What did you think of these? Are you playing Type-0? Have you played the Final Fantasy 15 demo? Let me know. Also add me on PSN. I've been kind of wanting to like stream PS4 games. Unfortunately, I can't. Like, my internet is just I can't do it with my internet, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, add me on PSN. Ultimate Floyd's the name on there. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.